Cambridge, and welcome to What's That About, where we answer all your questions of the pressing issues of the day, brought to you by CCTV. Are we not men?
We are not. Our first question comes from Gina on Fayette Street. Gina asks, previously you did a glowingly positive show on Cambridge's guaranteed basic income program, but I heard it's over now. Why did it end?
I remember talking about that. When the pandemic hit, Cambridge started a disaster relief fund partially led by the mayor at the time, Sumbul Siddiqui. Feedback from that effort led to a limited pilot income program called RISE, funded by a grant, which supported 130 lower income households chosen by lottery from September 2021 to February 2023.
That's right, and results released by the Cambridge Community Foundation showed that the pilot was hugely successful. Recipients of the $500 per month had a higher employment rate, improved financial health, enhanced housing and food security, not to mention more time for parenting.
So during Mayor Siddiqui's second term, she helped start Rise Up Cambridge, which used $28 million of the Biden administration's ARPA funding to give $500 in monthly stipends to every family in Cambridge whose income was 250% of the poverty level or less. This made it pretty unique because it applied to every eligible family. But I'll let Councillor Siddiqui explain what else made it unique.
Rise Up is unique. I would say our eligible income level is relatively high, which is the 250% of the federal poverty line, which I mentioned. I think a lot of the other studies that have happened, the pilots that have happened, the individuals who are eligible are often with far lower income. So that's one difference that is in this group. And then I think the scale is different, right? I think we had almost 2,000 Rise Up families compared to the other studies that it's about 100 to maybe 300 families of most pilots. And I think our research design for Rise Up also is different. It kind of takes advantage of the novelty of Rise Up by explicitly comparing experiences and outcomes across subgroups of families defined by different income scales. You couldn't really do this without a wide range of eligible incomes and the large number of households.
And once again, the program has been a big success based on the interim results, which showed that program participants use funds to meet basic needs, pay down debt, and improve quality of life, such as helping families move out of a shelter into better quality housing.
Yeah, and these outcomes are not exactly a surprise. Studies across the nation from Illinois, Texas, and beyond have all showed the same thing.
For the most part, a lot of what we've heard from families about what they're doing with the cash, how helpful it is, that has been very consistent across the board in many of these studies, saying cash really helps. And so there's really I don't think there's any rocket science there.
So this all sounds really good. The program has been well administered and the results are promising. So why is it ended? And is there any hope that it will continue this year?
Well, according to Councillor Siddiqui, the future of Rise Up is currently up in the air. Now that federal money has dried up and won't be replaced by a current federal regime that hates poor people, especially those living in a blue state, state law says we can't provide the exact same kind of unrestricted basic income due to an anti-aid amendment. But a report from the city said if distributed money was earmarked for specific purposes like food or housing, a similar program would be legal.
Okay, so we know Rise Up program works. We know it was efficient. As Councillor Siddiqui says, it's not rocket science. So why hasn't the city funded a replacement?
My goal was to get something as soon as possible, but given the realities, it's looking like that, we aren't going to get something in this year's budget, which is hard. I wish we had prioritized this in this year's budget, but there was just not enough, I think, council support for that.
Because the city won't increase the budget to fund a program this year, that means money has to come from the stabilization fund or free cash. How likely is that?
Unfortunately, it all comes down to what and who the council and the manager prioritize. Here in Cambridge, we live in one of the wealthiest communities in the U.S. with a huge gap between rich and poor. And homeowners like me, who live in a city with average home prices of over $1 million, pay one of the lowest residential tax rates in the state. Not to mention we only have to pay $25 a year for the right to park our car anywhere in the city. We can afford to pay a little more here and there. Here's what Sumbul had to say about it.
It's, interesting, if you own a condo or own real estate, you get this residential tax exemption, you get all these benefits. No one talks about that, but then when you talk about giving people some resources and money, it's like, where's the data to back that up? Or we should evaluate that really further. And it's just really interesting conversations that I've had with many people. And I think I just say, like, imagine making $23,000 a year and having a family of 3.
Councillor Siddiqui is being very diplomatic here. Considering we live in a town where you can find all our welcome signs on every street corner, it's definitely interesting that when you ask the city to put a small amount of money where their mouth is, suddenly the answer is, you can't afford it.
Agreed. Guaranteed basic income has been an unmitigated success on all levels in Cambridge, and especially in relation to the residential tax break that mainly benefits the better off. It's just a drop in the bucket of the city budget. In a time of increasing financial uncertainty, partially caused by the Trump vandals in the federal government, the city manager and the council have to find the money to continue some version of Rise Up. It's the right thing to do on a human level, and it's the right thing to do to help support the cultural life of Cambridge. You can find my full interview with Councillor Siddiqui on the show's Vimeo page here. Check it out along with Rise Up program. We discuss a bit of the councillor's background growing up in Cambridge and also touch briefly on other issues like area police's response to ICE raids in Worcester and other towns near Cambridge, and what we can expect going forward from the CPD in similar situations.
Good stuff, Max. Until next week, if there is a next week.
We'll see you
See you
first.
first.